Hashtag Act 1, the weightless orbit. Hashtag 1, the paper sail. The port of glass was arranged to look as though nothing had ever happened there. Above the docking rings, ships went by in perfect, noiseless figures. Their hulls were invisible as required. Only the sealed seams of their cargo doors, the pale glimmer of their antennae, and the tiny dignified lights at their bows gave them away. They crossed one another's paths with a confidence that was almost rude. No vessel seemed to yield. No vessel seemed to be touched. The harbor software drew their roots in the air, then erased them before a route could become a story. Cyrus lay on his back on a greasy catwalk beneath all that excellence, his boots hooked through the grating and his silver fur full of black dust. A drip of coolant ticked against a pipe near his ear. "Look at them," he said. 3 rungs down the ladder, a small maintenance apprentice did not look. She had half her body inside a docking clamp and a wrench between her teeth. "I am looking at a clamp. The clamp has no imagination. Look at the ships. They are doing the ballet of not needing anybody. Left fin, right fin, enormous secret in the basement. Very moving." Cindy Lou removed the wrench. "Their hulls are invisible." "Exactly. Cost them a fortune to become mysterious." The catwalk shivered as something docked above them. Rust flakes came loose, spun once in the low gravity and settled against Cyrus's sleeve. Through the grating he could see the underside of the port. Cable bundles tied off with old wire, service ducts painted a hopeful white and then forgotten, the round black mouths of inspection shafts. This was the part visitors did not photograph. The port of glass advertised itself in wide views of luminous rings and ships sliding past one another without a ripple. It did not advertise the oil, the warm metal, the people with tools between their teeth. Cindy Lou put the wrench into the clamp again. "Nobody logged this," she said. "That is because paperwork is a form of camouflage. The clamp has been compensating for a 12-degree skew. It has been grinding its own teeth for at least 6 months. We are both very proud of it." She looked down at him. Cindy Lou was small, square in the shoulders, and equipped with the expression of someone who had already seen the trick and found the wire. Her coveralls were patched at both knees. In one pocket she carried a clear packet of salvaged nav beacon grit. It gave off a thin, persistent shimmer like a handful of bad advice from a star. "You are not proud," she said. "No. But I am willing to attend a celebration on its behalf. You should move." "Why?" "If it gives, that pipe will make you flat." Cyrus considered the pipe. "I have always wanted to be a decorative relief." "Move." He moved. The clamp complained with a long interior groan, like a building trying not to remember its foundations. Cindy Lou braced one boot on the ladder and turned the wrench with both hands. For a moment the port's immaculate choreography overhead seemed to tremble around the edges. Then the clamp settled. Cindy Lou listened to it. "There," she said. "You have saved several people from an expensive inconvenience." "No, I have delayed an expensive inconvenience." Cyrus grinned. "See? This is why I keep you around. You make hope efficient." "You do not keep me around." "Correct. You haunt the infrastructure of your own free will. Much worse." A harbor announcement chimed from a speaker that had been painted over 3 times. Its voice was gentle, sexless, and delighted with itself. "Attention! Honored arrivals and departures. In accordance with the Wake Ordinance, all vessels are reminded that uncaused passage is the shared privilege of every resident. Kindly maintain graceful displacement at all times. Interpersonal contact intervals are limited to 5 seconds unless Form 19C has been approved." Cyrus raised one finger. "There it is, the 5 sacred seconds. After that, apparently a person begins to leave evidence." Cindy Lou slid out of the clamp. "The form is 17 pages. 17? That is almost intimacy. It asks if contact may produce a wake. Every contact produces a wake." "Yes." He looked at her. She was studying the clamp again, not because she doubted it, but because knowing a thing had held did not mean it would continue to hold. Above them, a long invisible freighter eased toward a berth. Its navigation lamps made a bright obedient necklace in the dark. The cargo manifest projected beside it, public and immaculate. Textiles, frozen algae cakes, replacement filters, commemorative glass. "No ballast declared." Cyrus laughed once, not loudly. The sound went under the catwalk and came back smaller. "There goes another saint," he said. 30,000 tons of perfectly ordinary cargo and absolutely no ballast. Not a pebble of regret, not a teaspoon of old weather. Remarkable species." Cindy Lou held out her hand. "You owe me 2 bolts. "For what?" "You said its aft doors would stick before it reached the ring. They did not. They have not reached the ring yet. This is premature accounting." "You said before." "I said it in a spirit of poetry." She held out her hand until he gave her 2 small bolts from his pocket. She put them away without looking pleased. The port's ballast office occupied a glass cylinder at the center of the main ring. From the catwalk it looked clean enough to drink from. People entered carrying approved cases and left with printed receipts, their faces arranged in the modest, blank expression the ordinance recommended. The actual ballast did not go through that office. It slept behind false bulkheads, under spare blankets, inside sealed engine housings. It lived in the way a ship listed 3 millimeters toward a corner and blamed the air conditioning. Cyrus had seen holds packed with objects whose owners could not name them, a coat with all the pockets sewn shut, a set of keys for a building that no longer appeared on maps. 6 crates of water a captain insisted were emergency water, though he had no emergency and the water had gone thick. Every vessel in the glass sea was built to have a bow and no wake. That was the proud trick of it. But the wake went somewhere. It went into the hold, where it learned to be heavy. A boarding chime rang above the main ring. A family of 6 emerged from a passenger tube in identical pale coats, each holding one small approved case. They kept the regulation distance from one another, even the youngest, because the port taught measurements before it taught directions. An attendant pointed them toward a glass booth with a sign, declare what assists navigation. The sign had been polished so often its letters had begun to disappear. Cyrus watched the family stop outside the booth. The oldest woman held her case in both hands. The case was too small to contain the way she was looking at it. An attendant spoke to her, counting with his fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then he turned toward the next arrival. The woman remained with the case. After a moment she made a shrug, a compact little rise and fall that said the case was fine, she was fine, the whole universe could keep its clipboard. It was a useful shrug. It held up the day. Cindy Lou saw it too. That is a bad sign. The sign? The shrug. Cyrus looked at her. You have strong opinions about shoulders. When people shrug like that, the thing does not go away. It just gets assigned a load-bearing job. He did not make a joke immediately. The family entered the booth one by one. The glass turned opaque while the scanner ran. It remained opaque longer than the 5-second greeting interval. Somewhere inside, a printer began making a long, patient sound. You have been here long? He asked. Long enough to know the clamps complain before people do. And do the clamps get the 17-page form? The clamps do not have to prove they are affected. Lucky clamps. The booth cleared. The family came out with their approved cases and 5 identical receipts. The oldest woman had put her case down and was carrying it from the handle as though it contained something contagious. She caught Cyrus watching and gave him another shrug. It was smaller this time. He tipped 2 fingers to his brow, an old salute that meant nothing official, and she looked away. The port's public screens continued to show the blue planet, serene and distant. Not one of them showed the booth. His own ship was moored in berth 12, though the harbor board called it a service obstruction. The paper sail had a visible hull because Cyrus had never found the money, the patience, or the moral vacancy required to hide one. She was narrow-bodied and old, patched in 3 different whites and 1 color that had once been yellow. Her solar sail folded along the spine in stiff panels, each panel repaired with a different kind of tape. Her nose was dented in a way that made her look interested. Somebody had painted a blue wave along her side years ago. Cyrus claimed it was a company crest. Nobody believed him, including Cyrus. The paper sail had 1 main cabin, a galley shelf, 2 bunks that could be argued into 3, an engine room that made a kettle sound when it was offended, and a porthole above the pilot's seat. Cyrus had not covered it with a display. When the port recommended replacing all unfiltered windows with regulated view screens, he had told the inspector the porthole was structural. This was untrue, which made it an excellent reason. Cindy Lou came down the ladder. Your ship is leaking light. That is how you know she is alive. It is coming from the access panel. That is how you know she is alive in a particular location. They crossed the catwalk toward berth 12. A procession of harbor attendants passed above them in silver shoes, holding their hands exactly 1 palm width from their sides. They were practicing a departure greeting. Cyrus watched the clock projected on the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At 5, each attendant turned away from the person beside them. One of them, a woman with a clipboard, stopped under the grating, her face lifted toward the catwalk, surprised to find people in the underside of the port. Maintenance personnel, she called. Please remember that unregistered gatherings may interfere with traffic serenity. Cyrus leaned over the rail. We are not gathering. We are distributed badly. The woman made a notation. Also, he added, if you see a freighter with no ballast, tell it I admire its courage. All declared manifests are available for review. That was not my question. She walked on. Cindy Lou pushed open the paper sail S-hatch. It stuck, as it always did, then opened with a sound like a cupboard receiving bad news. Inside, the main cabin smelled of solder, dry tea, hot dust, and the faint mineral sweetness of the emergency water recycler. A brass kettle was strapped to a counter with 2 bungee cords. Above it, a row of paper labels had been taped to switches. Sail, not sail, definitely not sail, and ask first. Cindy Lou looked at the labels. Which one is the air? Ask first. She examined the little panel beside the hatch. This is not safe. No, it is memorable. She laid her packet of Starlight on the counter and began opening the access panel. Cyrus stepped into the pilot's nook. The porthole showed the harbor's long interior curve, ships shining at the bows and vanishing everywhere else. A recorded scene of open space played on half the public windows along the ring. The picture had been made somewhere neat and empty, with a blue planet in the distance and no port at all. Cyrus preferred the real clutter. He liked seeing the cables, the doors, the grease. They proved somebody had been here before him and failed to make it elegant. He trusted that more than he trusted a seamless wall. A seamless wall could be hiding anything, a rupture, a closet, a perfectly respectable committee. A pipe with a dent in it had already made its first confession. Cindy Lou followed his glance toward the porthole. You did not replace it. No. The port gives grants for approved view screens. I know. I applied. Why? To see whether they would say yes. They did. Terrible disappointment. The ship's console blinked awake. A message waited in the berthing queue, marked low priority and then marked urgent by hand. Cindy Lou heard the chime. What did you break? Possibly the port's faith in me. That was already broken. The message was a request for a retrieval from the outer docking lane. A solar sail yacht had lost its guide signal and was making slow, expensive circles beyond the harbor lights. Its passenger had declined standard assistance on the grounds that standard assistance required a public ballast declaration. There was no cargo listed but 1 botanical life support unit. The request included a note in a formal hand, the plant objects to being transported by a municipal tug. Cyrus read it twice. Well, he said, either we have a difficult passenger or a flower has acquired legal standing. Cindy Lou closed the access panel. Both are possible. You are coming. I am finishing this leak. The leak will still be here when we return. It has shown admirable commitment. Cindy Lou looked at the screen. Outer lane. That is beyond the 5-second zone. Yes. The port will record it. The port records rain. It has nothing else to do. She took her wrench, the packet of Starlight, and the 2 bolts she had won. I am coming because your sail tensioner sounds wrong. That is the nicest thing anyone has said to me this week. It was not meant to be nice. Then it is even nicer. Cyrus released the berth clamps. The paper sail shuddered, considered the matter, and separated from the port of glass with a small metallic kiss. Her visible body moved into the invisible traffic. Behind her on the station's monitors, the harbor software drew no wake at all. But under the grating, in the old pipes and sleeping holes, the whole port knew she had gone. #stars. The prince...